you've just announced, starting 2024, the 8 current teams in the PLL will be assigned a city, a state, or a region. Why now?
We think it's time. It's really exciting news. I know you and I have had conversations about our fandom for different team sports and how there's usually an anchor, which is the city, state, or the region. We intentionally didn't do that when we launched, but over these 5 years, testing over 30 markets, learning about our audience, really optimizing for a broadcast experience, not having to deal with the logistical entanglements of having a home away model without owning venues. All this stuff that we've shared in the past is why we built the model the way we did. We've now reached a place where we're growing beyond it. 6 teams to now 8 teams, 15 million fans in the US to now what this MRI Simmons report on behalf of ESPN has done, so that's 45 million. So what does this bring? It's the next level of non-lacrosse fans that may not know who the stars are. They can connect with the PLL through the city, state, or region.
When I think of pro sports, I think of a geographical base for a team.
Yeah.
What's been the biggest challenge over the last 5 years?
Well, I would say maybe not having that. And then alternatively, the brand reputation of lacrosse over the last 30. So a lot of people here, even at ESPN, whose sons or daughters play lacrosse, they said the biggest difference is it used to be only offered at private schools, now it's offered at public schools. So you have the brand, and then for us, we have the non-geo affiliation. We really used our existing model as the launching off point. And we have been beneficiaries of that wider national appeal. I worried that if when we launched with 6 teams in 6 markets, straight up, that if you didn't live in those 6 markets, you could care less. So we wanted to put our arms around the whole lacrosse community.
If I'm a fan of the chaos, my first question is, what is the path to assigning a city, a state, or a region?
Yeah, well, MLL was around for 20 years, right? And they had franchises all over the country. NLL has had a similar footprint as well. So we get to learn a lot, especially when we merged with MLL, we pulled in all that data and information around what worked, what didn't. We've been really empowered by our relationship with ESPN to get data from them, as well as Ticketmaster. And then we have our internal data, where 5 years of going to more than 30 markets around the country has enabled us to say, okay, this city looks really good, this state looks really good, this region looks really good. There's always going to be maybe 2 on the outside looking in. Say we had 15 teams, 16 and 17 would be like, come on.
Yeah.
I anticipate there being a couple of markets that we go,
Yep.
love to be there, but those are then likely to be the expansion.
Yeah. I, for one, love the touring model.
Yep.
How is that going to be impacted?
Well, we love it too. So what we're exploring is this really hybrid model as we transition to regions and locations. So what fans can expect is that every game weekend will still function as it currently does. The difference is that the host team will be the home team. There's still 4 games over the weekend, 2 doubleheaders. This time, though, the home team will play on both days. So home team will have a doubleheader. They'll play on Saturday, they'll play on Sunday. That way you can sort of carry the audience engagement and the fandom and the ticket buyers and to flock towards their home team that's playing.
I'm interested in the concept of building steam around my home team,
Yeah.
right? How can a home team and a fan base feel that during that week you hit the tour?
Yeah, well, we want to surround that week with the team coming and playing. We also want to be in the market for as long as we can throughout the year. So PLL academies, having players and even coaches live in market, figuring out a front office in that market, doing community work with PLL Assists in that market, activating with local sponsors in that market. There's so much attention around games and seeing that brought to life. We're going to do that really well. We're not going to have as many as the NBA or the NHL have, but if you look at the NFL, they basically throw 8 concerts a year. So we're going to throw a big concert in the home market, and then we're going to have a big presence throughout the year through different ways.
I have a hypothetical for you.
All right.
I'm a New Yorker.
Okay.
I'm an Atlas fan. You give the Atlas to Boston. I can never root for Boston, ever. What's your response to that?
Okay.
You took my team.
Okay. Well, I'd probably say, as long as I'm in this seat, I won't give Atlas to Boston. All right? Because, you know how I love Boston.
It's hypothetical.
Okay, hypothetical. Hypothetical, New York, Boston don't vibe. And if you're a fan of Atlas and they go somewhere else, what are you going to do? So we've thought a lot about this. And honestly, it's the thing that we think about the most from a psychological standpoint of who our fans are. And that will happen for some people. They'll say, I love Atlas and I love Trevor Baptiste. Unfortunately, he plays in another market. And by the way, Chrome here is in my market. So I think that they'll go one of two ways. They'll either continue to support Atlas because they've built this relationship with them, or they'll most likely adopt their new home team and no longer be fans of Atlas. The trends that we see on Google and Meta and MRI Simmons is fans are all over the place now, especially because media is now national and international. So Lakers fans live in DC. Celtics fans are in New York, largely because of the free agency shift in the NBA, and there's a lot of hoops fans that just favor their favorite player. But back to your question, I believe that we are not only like sort of interlocked with our players, but our fans in the direction of where the PLL is going. Everyone's been a part of it. It's part of our mission, trailblazing the future of professional sports that's player and fan focused.
You won an MLL championship in 2011 with the Boston Cannons, 2015 with the New York Lizards. You were immersed in those communities.
Yeah.
What are your fondest memories?
I loved living in Brooklyn when I played with the Lizards and driving to practice and going out to dinner with RP3 and talking game plan and going to Randall's Island and shoot and really get ready for the season. I loved being able to meet new people in and outside of our industry and say I play for New York. That resonates.
Yeah.
In Boston, I was drafted to a team that I would argue was the best attended, sort of drove the most revenue and probably best dressed as well as players in the locker room. And we had such a great vibe. We had veteran mix of Kyle Sweeney and Ryan Boyle and rookies like myself and Kevin Buchanan. But you feel a part of the Boston community. I built a relationship with Bill Belichick in college, and then he came to games when I was playing with the Cannons in Boston. We'll have that again. And I think for us, where we've been able to capture a ton of momentum in lacrosse, what I look forward to most is in capturing the Stephen A. Smiths, the Mike Greenbergs, those that are used to the Bill Simmons having conversation around teams and emerging sports that are tied to cities.
That's the marketing aspect of it, the media aspect of it. But after a champion is crowned in 2023 in Philly, you'll turn the page, you and your whole team, to 2024. What excites you the most on the field with this announcement?
I think that we are going to have an entire different sort of brand look and feel. As a marketing guy, that's exciting. As a media guy, that's exciting. I think that 10 years from now, our founding fans will look back on these first 5 seasons and say, I was a part of that. When Atlas, when Water Dogs, when Chaos, when Whip Snakes weren't attached to a city, and I watched that championship game in Philadelphia, I watched a championship game in DC. You get that in sports. People talk about that ages ago in the NFL and the NBA before the big mergers and things of that nature. It'll be a special moment for us. And I look forward to being on TV and radio and print and being able to just say, this is this team's here, that team's there. I can't give it away now. But that makes the communication really universal.
When you think of teams being assigned to a city, state, or region, there's a lot that goes into that. But 2024 is right around the corner. When are you going to announce this?
Well, it's a sprint. So I would expect if you are a fan of one of our teams now that you'll find out what location they're going to be in Q4 of this year. And that's going to be a full turn on. So there will be a light switch, hypothetically, that gets flicked, and that then impacts social media handles, to digital and web, to app, to venues that you can expect in our 2024 schedule, which will likely get released on Jan 1 as it has the past 2 years. But there might be a couple curveballs as well, in that we are looking at, as I had mentioned, the MLL merger in the past, or different names that might resonate with markets that are important to us. Doesn't necessarily mean that the 8 team names that are here right now will be the same 8 in 2024.
You might have some explaining to do.
We'll have another sit down to talk about it.
We sat in this room a year ago. We talked about fate of a sport, the build of the league, and everything that you went through. And I look at this announcement, I look at it as the next big thing in this league. So I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. Yeah, we're really excited. We think it's going to be the biggest moment for our sport since the day we announced.